This interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of the video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard or Matt Zolbe. Today is July 10th at 10 a.m. This is an interview with Matt Zolbe in New York City. He was born on September 2nd, 1959 in New Jersey. This interview is done at the Waldorf-Astoria Hotel on Park Avenue. Waldorf is an iconic institution, obviously, for America. When you come to the hotel every morning for work, do you think about it being an iconic place, or is it just kind of something that you don't really think about, it just is part of your life?
I do think about it. I don't know that I think about it every day as I get off the train, but the size and scope of the building really hits me. And my boss lives in-house. He lives in a suite in the Waldorf, and I frequently wonder what his perspective is, because he sees it so much internally.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning, the employees show up and see the hotel. Such a big part of working at the Waldorf is addressing yourself as working at the Waldorf. Throughout history, we've been known for what we do. You know, so many of the English surnames are based on what we do. Smith, Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
Woodman. A lot of people try to push away from that. They don't want to be their business card, but ultimately you're known by friends and family and neighbors as what you do.
Yeah.
Your father is a tailor or a baker. So when you say you work at the Waldorf, that immediately establishes yourself. In my job, I'm called upon to call people frequently. And when I address the receptionist, the gatekeeper, as Matt Zolbe from the Waldorf-Astoria, my experience is so much different than any other job I've ever had. There are people well above me in our organization. We're part of Hilton Worldwide. There are 3,000 hotels in our company. And the senior vice president of sales for our company has a job with a lot more juice than I have. And yet, if I call somebody on the phone, I'm able to get to that person more quickly than somebody who, as I say, has a lot more professional power, so to speak. So yeah, I get it every day.
Wow. So is it a lot to live up to, or is it not a big deal?
It's huge. It's huge to live up to. For one thing, we're financially very successful, and so
Mm-hmm.
there's a tremendous pressure every day to perform. We're going to run 92% this year, 92% occupancy. We had a couple months ago, we ran 97%.
Wow.
When you tell your owners that you're going to run 94% next month, and they're making expense decisions based on that, it's incumbent on you to do that. If you miss a couple days early in the month where you don't run great occupancies, you can't catch up. You would basically forecast to sell out through the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So that's the financial answer, but that's not really why it's a challenge. It's a great challenge. If you were to read a book, and a book described a guy walking into a bar, this guy's so good looking, his eyes are so blue that even men's heads turn. The guy you're picturing is your version of Adonis. He is spectacular. He's mesmerizing. Well, when Hollywood makes a movie based on that book, when that guy walks into a bar in the scene from the book, he is very unlikely to be as good looking as you had in your mind. The mental imagery that we can come up with is very powerful. And so many people, when they come to the Waldorf-Astoria, are expecting something grand. The world's very mobile. We've all seen great things. We've seen natural wonders, we've seen man-made wonders, and there are a lot of both. In 1930, 1940, 1950, the world wasn't thus. And so I think it was a lot easier to impress. It's tougher to impress. For us, and you're in the hotel, I don't know if it was this way for you, but as you ascended the stairs into the Park Avenue lobby for the first time, I'll bet in the silence of your heart you were thinking, I'm walking into the Waldorf. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
We want everybody to feel that. We want that sensation that they have to be quite wonderful when they get to our hotel. We've really worked hard on the public spaces to make sure that it supports that. Hard as that is, again, given what people have experienced in life. But when you get into the Park Avenue lobby, I think you feel that. When you get into our main lobby, it's a different feel. That main lobby is very masculine. When this hotel opened, women did not conduct business. So women and children stayed in that Park Avenue lobby, while men went into the main lobby to transact.
Mm-hmm.
So in any event, yes, it is a challenge to live up to, because people expect much when they come to the Waldorf.
What is the most surprising thing that you've seen while you've been here? Like funny, like, I don't know, interesting, something that you've seen happen?
Well, I'm a political junkie, so much of what happens in the hotel from a diplomatic perspective is what is exciting to me. I'd much rather escort the U.S. Secretary to the Treasury to a suite where he's going to meet the white-shoed investment bankers of New York than I would meeting a celebrity.
Right.
the opportunities to interact with those people are enormous, although there's also a tremendous scorn placed internally on those who do so outside the bounds of their position.
Right.
So you don't go play human arrow in the corridor when you know that it's time for somebody to depart. But the volume of what happens here, this hotel has so much rich history. It has events subsequent to World War II that shaped much of Europe. You had heads of state from Russia and the UK and the United States making decisions about how Europe would be, where the boundaries would be. You have the U.S. ambassador to the UN who lives here. This is an embassy. That individual has lived here for years, and you learn over time that it's not the person, it's the position, it's the office.
Right.
We sit in the presidential suite, but the difference in terms of serving presidents is not that significant. It's the office. You might have one president who loves Diet Coke cold as can be out of the can, works late. Okay, those are little changes for room service. You have the next president comes in and he's into comfort food that we would equate to, giving him a cheese quesadilla is making him happy. And he's going to be up early exercising. If we're going to have bilateral and trilateral summits in the hotel, it's going to be earlier in the day. But the changes are fairly negligible. But it's the office of the White House. It's dealing with Homeland Security and Secret Service, truly on a daily basis. Rare is the day that we don't have a head of state staying in this hotel. And I know I'm making this a long answer, but I'll tell you about the first time I was manager on duty in this hotel. It was a Saturday. It was the Saturday after the UN had kind of kicked off. So that week the president speaks to open. It's usually on a Tuesday. Then typically has a reception here that night for the heads of state. That night we had 120 heads of state and some of their spouses in the room. That's the only people in the room. That doesn't happen anywhere else. That doesn't happen at the UN. They're not there together. So in any event, we get later in the week, and our Secretary of State is hosting an event that evening for the king of a Middle Eastern country. And there were 5 other heads of states attending. So on this table, I've got my AOD radio. So I'm passing this off at 5 o'clock to the ambassador on duty, the manager on duty. It's one of our catering managers, a very, very seasoned individual, but in the organizational structure, gosh, probably the 5th person in our catering department, much less 5th person in the hotel. And as I talked to this woman, I let her know about how events had been going for the day, everything was set up. And I realized at that time, I was new to the hotel. I'd come from being a general manager of a Hilton branded hotel. It was a very nice brass and glass hotel. So good hotel experience. I'm handing over to Judy, and I let her know who's in the hotel. And I don't have the general manager. I don't have the hotel manager. I don't have the director of catering. I don't have the executive chef. I don't have the director of food and beverage. None of these people are here.
Oh my gosh.
Because this wasn't really extraordinary. It was extraordinary. But it was then that it struck me how different this hotel really is. How could this be? In my past lives, my regional would have been here. The regional vice president for the company would have come in because, my goodness, the Secretary of State is in-house, much less all the other people who run their countries.